Hello and welcome to Pitch Bleak, the true creative crime podcast. My name is Hayden Bevis, and with me, as always, is Christopher James Kennett.
Not my name, but good morning anyway. Hayden, boy, do we have a case today. Our investigation is juicy, and it's a big-name suspect. Today on Pitch Bleak, we will be lifting the lid on one of Australia's biggest entertainment cartels. We will go undercover and question the mysterious destruction of The Live Show, a live sketch comedy series that was destroyed before anyone got to see it. And to tell us all about it is none other than one of the country's greatest treasures, Rove McManus.
Before we start, Chris, legs?
Legs.
Has it got legs today, Chris? You have a choice again. Do you want the TV show or do you want the sketch idea?
Let's stay on theme.
Yes.
For today, give me the sketch.
Okay, so picture the Melbourne teleportation airport. What do you call the Melbourne?
What do you
teleport?
call those teleport places? What are they?
The proviso of this sketch is that teleportation is commonplace.
Okay.
And this is you, a cranky you.
Yep.
I'm thinking of you here.
Me?
Because you get angry quite easily.
Not true, but...
Surly quite easily. Is that
all right? So I'm at the teleport port.
Yes. And you've gone from Melbourne to San Francisco in a second.
Uh-huh.
And now you're standing there with no pants on. And you go up to the person at the desk and you're like, where the fuck are my pants? And then you get in an argument with the teleportation people about other stuff that you would see at a genuine airport, but it's now at a teleport, but you've just gone from Box Hill to...
I see. So you've lost my pants. That took a second and a half rather than a second.
Yes.
Minor inconveniences.
Yes.
And the humour is derived twofold.
Yes.
One, in that I'm having all this outrage and complaints about little minor things when I've just done something absolutely miraculous.
That's correct.
Two, I don't have any pants on.
Yes.
While this is happening.
No. So that's the sketch, and let's improvise it now. I am the person at the desk.
Okay.
You ready?
No.
No. I don't need to knock.
Not. Hello? Is this the server's desk?
Yes. How can I help you?
Yeah, first of all, I'm just wondering why you're inside a separate room that I had to knock on the door of.
It's the rules here because a lot of people complain and we need to protect ourselves.
Right. Well, I'm having a bit of a problem. I've just ported in,
yes,
as we call it now, from Box Hill to here, San Francisco, and my pants are missing, as you can see.
Oh, that is a minor inconvenience. We apologise.
Well, I wouldn't call it a minor inconvenience. As far as I'm concerned, this constitutes a major inconvenience. Where are my pants? When will I be getting them back?
1 second. Type. They're in Buenos Aires, and we have spare pants for you.
This is outrageous. How are you going to make this right?
We have spare pants.
No, I'm obviously angling for some sort of compensation. I'm talking free ports, upgrades.
3 pairs.
I want a first class port.
4 pairs of pants. How many pants do you want?
What? But where did the pants come from? Are these just other people's lost pants?
Pants
that ended up here?
We all know in the teleportation game that 1 out of 4 teleportations people lose their pants.
Well, I'm a bit worried about this. I'm concerned.
You knew the rules coming in. You should have worn 2 pairs of pants.
I went in blind. Also, you don't sound San Franciscan.
Well, you can either accept 5 pairs of pants or you can get out of the office. I haven't figured out how to end the sketch yet, Chris.
But
has it got legs?
I don't know, man. I mean, it hasn't got pants.
Sitting in the chair opposite us, Chris, is one of the big kahunas of the Aussie TV scene, a stand-up comic turned TV host turned radio jock turned big-wig producer, Rove McManus has been a stalwart of the Australian entertainment industry since he first stepped in front of the cameras of The Loft Live back in 97.
Correct.
After his apprenticeship on Channel 31, Rove moved up to the big time and began hosting his own show on commercial TV, which became an absolute smash hit. But it's not his on-air talent that he's here to talk about today, Chris. It's his producing. And under the spotlight is his production company, Roving Enterprises. Roving Enterprises has brought us many titles, including Skit House, Before the Game, and the ever-present The Project. But it was one title that has drawn the attention of the Pitch Bleak team, and that is the ill-fated The Live Show. As a Freo Dockers superfan, a surprise nerd, and an excellent person, please welcome Rove McManus.
Thank you all. A pleasure hearing my life story, my resume. What are my typing skills like?
Oh, they are very good. 60 words per minute?
It's not bad.
It was okay.
For 2 fingers.
I've been shamed for caps lock on, caps lock off instead of using shift. Oh, God. I feel like I've just...
Wait.
Every time I caps...
You caps lock just to start a sentence?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're an idiot. You are an idiot. Yes.
You'll be the third Perthian on the Pitch Bleak pod at this point.
Things going wrong for people from the West. Big dreams, big hopes, getting dashed.
Is that it?
That's it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so that was a really easy interrogation.
Fine. Is Perth not a big creative space? Or?
It's better now.
Okay.
You can get to a pretty good level in Perth and you can have a decent career and you can make money and be fine, but you're not going to be able to break through the way you would want to because that all comes from being in Sydney or Melbourne in particular, especially if you're talking to comedians. That was always the idea, that when you reached a certain level doing your stand-up in Perth, it got to the point of, well, when are you going to move to Melbourne? When are you going to move to Melbourne?
What is it about Melbourne that makes it that comedy capital?
Well, just that it is. It's like what makes Mount Everest the mountain to climb. Bloody hell, Chris. You live here.
I know it. It's for the audience.
The audience knows.
All right.
It's the comedy mecca of Australia, and Sydney may sometimes take umbrage with that. But it's a fact. The comedy festival is huge and gets bigger and bigger every year. It's one of the top festivals in the world for comedy, just in quality and size alone. And also the amount of production that comes out of Melbourne. Sydney's where the decision makers live, where all the executives are, the business side of things. The making and the doing is usually done in Melbourne. So if you want to come and be seen, discovered, you pack your bag and you head to the big smoke. And
do you have a little,
I had
handkerchief on a stick?
I had a stick with a kerchief and a small talking cat.
Did you have a hat with the lid kind of peeling off the top?
It was a tin can. Yep. It was an actual tin can.
See, that disconnects, as you've described, the relationship between Sydney being where the decisions are made, where the money's pushed around, where the suits live.
The suits.
And then Melbourne, where it's actually got to be done. Yep. The minds, the comedy minds.
We'll do it.
Strikes me as a problematic relationship from the start. Do you think that contributes to the kind of troubled dynamics that could lead to productions
That is a very good question, and probably one that is quite factually accurate.
Thank you.
I think there's always been that divide, especially in the early days before networks were networks. There was always there's shows that are made out of Sydney, there's shows that are made out of Melbourne. IMT, back in the days of Graham Kennedy, was in Melbourne tonight because that's where it was made, because there wasn't really a national broadcaster. But then as everyone sort of started to become one as networks, suddenly it became who's the best. That's the whole reason Canberra even exists as a capital city. It's because as a nation we had two major capital cities who couldn't decide which was going to be the capital. So we went, we will literally invent a city to be the capital city. Yeah. How great. That's where all of the TV should be made from.
Yeah.
We've done a few Pitch Bleaks now.
Yep.
And there's one thing that I've been particularly naive about, and it is just the straight ruthlessness of television. I just had no idea, and everyone's come in is quite brutal. And you seem to be a bundle of joy. How can you maintain that?
Because I'm successful.
Okay, all right.
It's easy to be positive when you're successful.
Okay, all right.
I think if you failed miserably, it would be the worst industry in the world. I had all these friends that were being signed to radio shows or TV shows, or even just getting comedy management when we were all starting out. And in a graduating class, I was kind of the last to graduate, I suppose.
Yeah, okay.
And then I found I wanted to do this show on Channel 31, or I was asked to do it, and I did the pilot, and I enjoyed doing it. And then they said, hey, we want to make it into a series, and we'd actually like you to host it. And that's when I went, well, this is what I want to do. I wasn't getting paid. If anything, I lost money making it every week because the makeup lady needed $50 to cover her costs, and that came out of my pocket. I was sitting there just doing that. I didn't do it with the idea of this is where I will be spotted, which is funny because years later I'll have spoken to people who were saying, I got into 31 because that's how you got spotted.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice? And my advice is, well, if you just got into 31 to be spotted, you might end up disappointed because how long are you happy to stay there? Do you want to stay there for a year, 2 years? If you're still there in 10 years, will you be happy? I just did it because I enjoyed doing the show. So that's why I've always tried to just find the joy in whatever job I have had.
Yep.
And that makes it a little bit easier to not dwell on the negatives too much because it's just fun while you're making it.
Well, all that's out the window because we're dwelling on the negatives.
Yes, let's do
Okay.
that. Let's get glass half empty. I've had a pretty good run. Certainly up until the point that we're about to discuss, things are pretty good. Some would say I'm at the height of my powers. And yet, what happens? Well, we'll get there.
Are you comfortable talking about this,
Oh,
Rob?
look, it feels like I'm two-finger typing in front of a bunch of people. It's all caps lock. So if it sounds like I'm yelling, that's why.
I'm not happy about this being slammed.
Hayden, look, just embrace it. You are who you are. Don't change it. Don't change it.
All right.
Okay.
Tell us about the birth, life, death of the live show.
Well, the birth was we had been making the sketch comedy show Skit House.
Skid House.
Skit House.
That's a pun?
Do you know what? We did a pilot for it, and I know pilots come up a lot in this podcast. So the idea of you do a test show that usually doesn't go to air, and that is your proof of concept for a network to say yes or no. So the pilot was called Sketchy at Best.
Oh.
But then we weren't really sure that was... We wanted to call it the Sketch Show because I have a history of just... It's what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm a big fan of that.
It's a show called... I'm in it. It's called Rove. People weren't sure if it was pre-recorded. Let's call it Rove Live. We have an AFL show that is on after the football. We'll call it after the game. When it moves to being before it, we'll call before the game. We have a new show that we're testing. We're not sure what it is. It's on at 7 o'clock at night. We'll call it the 7 p.m. Project. That's what I do.
Hang on, this is just a huge lack of imagination.
I'm surprised it wasn't just called TV Thing.
This is the real crime.
Yeah, a lack of imagination.
The title of any sketch show is either something incredibly obvious like
Yes.
the Ha Funny comedy sketch show.
Yes.
Or it's something completely fucking obtuse.
Yep.
Like Greasy Ferrets
That's
by
right.
the hour.
That's right. That was on the
Yeah.
list. That was on the list. But it was only a 30-minute show. Comedy rooms are the same. It's in the city. It's the city comedy room. Comedy room that's in a basement. It's basement comedy. Or it's Yuck Yucks. Or the Giggle Shack. Or Zibbity Doo Dah, Monkey Man. Which is a great room.
Which is good room.
It's a great room. It's a great room.
It's only got 3 seats, which
Yeah.
is weird.
You need more room for the Monkey Man. So we're going to call it the Sketch Show, but there's a UK show called the Sketch Show, so that wasn't allowed. So then we went, we'll just call it Sketchy at Best, and that'll do for now. And the idea of undersell in the hope that you over-deliver. So if we call it the best funny comedy show ever, it's going to get slammed. So we'll try to play underdog here. So we did the pilot, and then there was a list of potential names because we wanted to change it. And literal last one on the list was Skit House. That, as I recall, and I will put it on him, Stephen Gates from Tripod put there. And that was the one I went, that's the title. That's the one. And I remember him being quite mortified because he thought that was just meant to be the fun one at the end of the list. It wasn't actually meant to be a proper consideration. So we'd been making that. It had been successful both here and overseas. And at the same time, we had been making our live variety program for Rove Live. We had heard talk that the network was looking at coming up with a new sort of live studio show in the comedy sphere, and that it would be maybe like a sketch show, an SNL type of thing, the hints of the big gig from back in the day. So we thought, well, that's kind of right in our wheelhouse. We do comedy, we do sketch, we do live, especially very well. So we put up our hands to do that.
When you hear the winds of upstairs going, we might want this. How does that filter down to you? Like,
sometimes it's a literal, this is what we're looking at. Like the AFL show that we were doing was them saying, here's something we think would be good. We want you to do it.
This is Channel 10.
This is Channel 10.
And what year are we talking? This is early
2000s, like I'd say 03, 04.
Okay. When they still had some scratch.
They still had some scratch. Not that we had any kind of exclusive deal with them. It's just that we were dealing with them on a daily basis, doing a once a week television show. If we were going to get something up, it would stand to reason we would go to them. And same thing, if they had something in mind, they would come to us. And I can't remember the reasons why Skit House was wrapping up, but there was the idea that maybe that wasn't going to go around for a third, I believe it was, series. So we thought, well, we've got this team of writer performers, which is how that show worked. Why don't we bring them straight across, come up with a few new ideas and concepts, although there are some characters that could come back, and we'll just do it as a live studio show. I really liked the idea of this. And I liked the idea that if someone was going to bring this type of show to Australia, that we would be the ones to do it. Similarly, I grew up watching talk shows, invariably the ones from the US, like Letterman, Leno, and
you'd made that happen here.
But not just cut and paste, which is a lot of what you get nowadays. It's a format that if you switch on anywhere in the world, you can watch their version of The Voice or Survivor or The Bachelor. It's just same show, different accents. I wanted it to be in that vein, but not we're just copying. Let's give it our own feel. It's not going to have a news desk in the middle of it like SNL. We'll just keep it as it's live sketch. Again, like the Big Gig used to do for the ABC, they'd move around the studio. Even our sketch show, Skit House, was broken up with our performers who all had stand-up backgrounds doing pieces to camera, like mini monologues. So we thought we can bring that element in as well. And I really liked the challenge of trying to pull off a sketch show live in a studio where you can't stop to change sets. Right. You have to somehow keep it moving around.
So in your head, once you've had this concept, have you just gone slam dunk?
Yeah, of course.
That's a win.
Of course. The network wants it. We know what we're doing. We've got 2 seasons of, at the time, AFI nominated, Logie nominated sketch show. Yep. They were up the back of the room, so you knew they weren't going to win, but still.
That's not Australia Formula One.
No.
Hayden?
So we knew what we were doing. Walk up, start, slam dunk, almost to the point of, why do we even need to do a pilot?
Yeah.
Let's just do it. But we just thought we need to show that we can, especially the idea of it's a sketch show in a live studio. So you're not just keeping the same set like a talk show or anything else. Things are going to have to move around. People are going to duck backstage, put on a wig, come back out. So we just need to, for ourselves, know what we're in for. But really, it's just for us, not for the network. No. Of course they're going to say yes. We're all going to. Why would you say no to this? Why would you say no? So it was really just for our benefit and for the performers, work out what we like, what's going to work for the show when it happens.
The show you're definitely doing.
That, of course, will see the light of day because it's a great idea and no notes.
10 seasons.
So we used the same studio that we were using every week for our variety shows. Global Studios, it was called, out in Nunawading, the home of Neighbours for a long, long time. We had the sets around the outside sort of perimeter, and then the audience was in the middle, and then they would just sort of rotate around depending on where we needed them to be.
Great.
And the cameras would kind of move in between.
Were they a standing audience?
Yes.
Standing crowd, a la The Big Gig? Bit of an old reference now, maybe.
Yeah, but it's also, there's Top Gear, I guess, has an audience that stands up.
Yeah.
They're sort of standing behind the performers, which is a bit weird. But it's, like there's music shows or any live sort of entertainment variety show where your audience is on their feet, keeps them up and energized. It's only for an hour. Calm down, because it's a live show. We're not stopping down. Same for the pilot. We're going to do this for real. We may allow ourselves a little bit of breathing room for what would be a 3-minute ad break to change something around. If it's another minute or 30 seconds, that's fine, because we just want to make sure we get it right. Plus, the other thing that we asked for, and the network was very happy to oblige, was we won't just get them to watch it as it happens. We will record the show, and then we had 2 days to just fine-tune and tweak it. If it's a live show, it's going to go out with a few rough edges. That's okay. But we want to present to you the best version of this show. We won't do any second takes.
Yeah.
But if something fucks up or whatever, we'll nip and tuck
Just
and whatever.
Little fairy dust.
Yeah, exactly. But that was the only reason we had these 2 days.
Yeah.
2 days to then present it to the network to just go, boom, here it is. You know what it is. You love it. Away we go. How many Logies do we want now?
Yeah, exactly. 2 days, that's okay with you, Hayden?
Oh,
Is
it's
that all right?
fine.
Is that all right?
The actual performance is nerve-wracking. Like, I don't know, but I guess that's just live television, right?
And in reality, you wouldn't have that. You would do all your work and then the show would just go out.
So you filmed it.
The pilot was made. It was a chaotic night, as you can imagine. People are sort of running around. It was all a bit helter-skelter. But that was the thrill. I mean, I wasn't one of the performers trying to scramble to get outfits on and things like that and make sure that you were in the right place at the right time. But there was a real sense of thrill and excitement and just that crackle of energy from the audience because, as we said to them, this is just going to be exactly what you expect to get on the night. You're going in from start to finish. And it went well on the night. There wasn't any major issues or stuff-ups.
Did anybody get clocked by a swooping camera?
No, as
Because
I recall...
I've obviously never seen this, but I imagine there were quite a few.
As I recall, there was one, large crane. They call
Yep.
it a jib camera. One
There
of
we
those
are.
ones, it's like it's a huge, big robotic arm that can go up very, very high and swing down very, very low to get you those really sexy shots.
Yeah.
Was there any Channel 10 people there?
You have a network representative for every show. They are not the boss. They are the next one down. They're head of a department type of thing. So that person was there, but the head of the network, the actual decision maker, who we got along with famously, he was our guy. He was the guy who championed us in the early days.
And who is that guy?
David Mott was his name.
David Mott.
This is another pitch thing that I have learned. You need a champion. If you don't...
And he was the guy who saw us at 9, and when we left Channel 9 with the Rove show, said, hey, come to 10. In the early days when everyone was like, oh, what's this show? He was like, nah. Trust me, you got this. He did the same thing for The Project when it started. He was the champion of that show as well. So he, as I recall, wasn't there, but we had our other network representative that was there with the idea that he will see the finished product in a couple of days anyway.
Well, I can't imagine how anything goes wrong from
And let me
here.
mention too, in our cast, you've got Tom Gleeson, Gold Logie winner. You've got Tripod. You've got Ros Hammond. You've got Fiona Harris. You've got Cal Wilson. It's an A-list cast of very, very talented people. So again, it's like just on paper alone.
Just how many...
Let's do it.
How many millions do you want your ratings number to be?
It's like I was in my head going, is there a check physically long enough for the zeros?
Well, they have to keep writing new ones because it keeps going up.
That's right. Every check had PTO at the end of it.
Well, I feel like things are about to turn.
It's just 2 days, guys.
All right.
2 days to deliver this pilot to the network that really is just a bit of nip and tuck, spit and polish. What could go wrong? We had 2 production offices. One housed our main program, Rove Live, the writers and office staff was all on that side. And we got to the point where we needed a second building. In that second building is our props, is our wardrobe, is our set department, because from having a couple of years of a sketch comedy show, you build up a cachet. Also, our edit suites. That's where our editors were.
Why didn't you like hanging out with the editors?
They're boring people. I just can't deal and won't. I refuse. I'll walk in, so I look relatable, but then I just leave. Yeah. Half the time, they don't even realise I've left. They're just still tapping away with their 2 fingers, caps lock, and I've left the room. I mean, I would expect that they just feel my presence has left,
and they're just going, "Oh, I think he really cares." I think,
just before you turned around is when I left.
Yeah,
I was there for ages. It's the type of guy I am. Whoever you are. We were also at this point producing the ARIA Awards, the Music Awards ceremony.
Leave some for the rest of us, won't you?
So we had a sketch set up. We had a big room in there that was set up for something that we were going to be shooting for the ARIAs. And in the back, way up the back, so I can't see or smell them, is the edits going on there. So we have our editor going in. I've had a look at it. Everything's fine. He's just finishing up on some stuff. It is now the end of the day. We have knocked off. It is a staff member's birthday. Happy birthday, Amber Kane. We are all going up the road to have some drinks at the local pub.
That's nice.
Because, again, that's what I do. I do actually like Amber.
But the editors weren't.
Genuinely a good friend.
You didn't invite the editors.
No. That's the whole point of having a party sometimes, is to intentionally not invite people, knowing full well that they will find out from someone else. That's the whole reason you do it.
That's what makes it fun.
That's why I have birthdays. So while we were at the pub, we have literally bought a round of drinks. Happy birthday, Amber Kane. We are taking the drinks from the bar to the table. Amber Kane, happy birthday, Amber Kane, gets a text message. She looks up and she says, apparently the office is on fire. We step out of the pub to see a column of black smoke from a couple of blocks away. And we all hoof it out of that pub. Now, to this day, I still want to know what the perspective was for the person behind the bar. A round of drinks, please, my good man. It is Amber's birthday. We walk across the table and then we all fuck off out of the building. Like, he must have gone, what is this? He's doing really well for himself. He just buys a round of drinks and he doesn't even have to drink them.
It was like a candid camera type thing.
Yeah.
You got me, guys.
But don't touch him, If any editors come in, do not give them a sip. So we've run out and we're thinking, oh gosh, something's been set off, a smoke alarm or something. We get to our offices. It's two separate buildings with a car park in the middle. 2-story buildings. One of them is engulfed in flames.
Jesus.
Engulfed in flames.
Like a film sort of, like,
yeah,
exactly
to the
how
point that we are, where is everybody in that building?
Shit.
So it is knockoff time. So that's good. But we are aware that we were setting up for this sketch shoot. So there was a person who was setting up the sketch shoot. Plus, there's an editor, right? So we find the editor is outside on the street.
Oh, good.
That's a good sign. He has in his hand a VHS tape. A VHS tape. This is how far back it is.
Yeah.
Because the fire has broken out at the front of the building where the sketch was being shot. As a side story, the person who was setting up that sketch shoot had finished early for the day and had gone home and was walking her dog. We did not know this. Everyone is calling her, going, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? She has not got her phone with her because she's out walking the dog because she knocked off early. And we're all like, oh, dear God, she's still in there. Turns out she's fine. She finally calls back going, I'm just walking the dog. Just calm down. And we are like, there is no more building left. Where are you? So no one else is in the building to alert the editor to what's happening until smoke alarms and actual smoke are coming in. And he's at the back of the building and has to make his way out. To his credit, his first thought is, I have just hit save.
Oh, my God.
All caps S on this edit. What do? I am just going to run a VHS copy that I had in the machine. I'm going to do a quick dub of the show and run out because otherwise there is no show. So the only copy of the show is a very shitty VHS copy of the unedited version that we had. The cut version is in the system. It is now a melted pile of nothing. He has taken what was the original edited version that we had run a VHS to have a copy of. Well, so it turns out, just in case. And this is the just in case. And he made it out in time. In fact, someone went back in to get him. As he's sitting there going, I have to get the tape. And they're like, fuck the tape, get out. I have to.
So he's just sitting there waiting for the dub to finish.
No, he had it already.
Right.
But yes, he's like trying to get the dub of the actual edited version. Has realised this is not going to work. It's not just a smoke alarm now. I'm seeing smoke coming out and blocking my exit to this building.
This isn't one of these fun fires.
No. This is a very serious one.
You know the meme of the "This is fine"
this
dog?
is fine. That's where it came from.
Like
That's what it's based on,
editor
actually.
So
Except at the coffee cup, he's got a VHS tape.
So he's run out and is like, oh God, I've still got a copy of the tape. It's slightly waterlogged. It's probably got smoke in it, whatever, but he has it. In the meantime, the fire department's turned up. They're spraying the building with water. I watched the top floor disintegrate onto the bottom floor as everything, half the company literally goes up in smoke.
The Age said about this fire, there were 16 fire engines and 50 firefighters.
We don't do anything by halves.
No, that is insane.
It was quite extraordinary. It was the real deal. It was an amazing thing the next day to watch the fire department going through the debris. And there's like an expert who comes in to go, how the fire started. So they've gone in and he's just rifling through and he just picks out a wire and just goes, yeah, here it is. It's like a mouse has chewed through the wire and obviously it's set off the insulation in the ceiling. You had all the stuff set up in that room and it's just kind of all gone up. A lot of very flammable stuff. And while I was also going, that is incredible forensics.
Yeah.
There's also part of me that is, well, you'd hope so. You don't want him just sort of shuffling through the ashes going, I guess it was a fire. Hot stuff burned other things.
Because what do you want? This is all burnt.
Yeah, Bernie thing go, ouch. There's apparently free beers up the road. I'm going. Someone's just left them at the pub. Mouse has chewed through the wire and away we go.
I thought the forensics guy was going to find all your props going, what's this? And you're like, it's another wig.
That dildo is for work purposes.
I'm just imagining a lot of roughs. A lot of, I don't know, when I think sketch costumes.
Yeah, there's always medieval stuff. There is a guaranteed jester outfit. Usually togas.
Yeah.
Some sort of 70s flared thing. And then just sailor costumes.
Yeah.
So there we've got this VHS. Thank goodness we have the VHS. At least we have that. But even then we had someone who saw it. And guys, we all know what this is on paper. You don't even need to see it. Why did we even do a pilot?
You've handed it to them.
Yep.
Rove. It doesn't exist anymore.
Remember the live show, guys? The live show, that show that we all enjoyed for so many years.
It's a bit of PTSD going on here, obviously.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry to tell you, the show did not go to air.
Not?
Yeah.
Go to air, you say.
I know it's hard for you to accept. You're a successful man. You've had a stellar career.
I heard it read out before.
And it's clearly hard for you to accept that something you produced didn't fly.
It's like King Midas going, boom. What do you mean it's wood?
Yeah.
No, wait. It'll be gold. Hang on. Give me a second. And boom. What? It's
Rove.
polystyrene now. It's getting worse.
What happened?
We got a very definitive no thank you. And we were like, is it? Okay. It's an era where we're moving into the digital age, but to see it on a VHS is still fine. All the pieces are there. It was still a really good pilot to the point where we didn't need to do an edit on it anyway. And also, just a bit of sympathy because there's a bigger fire in the Bernie building.
Did they know?
Maybe not.
No, it's like, yeah.
It was a no, and it was a confounding no. It's like you're not even about to walk down the aisle. You are at the, do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? Nah. But here we are, and the proposal, and the years of dating, and the asking me to marry you, and here we are, and no. Okay.
Where did the no come from? Do you know?
Well, it would have come from Motty, from David Mott, and I don't know if it was his decision per se or someone else's in the building. Because often there can be a change of heart, you know? Sometimes it can be, we want to do this, and by the time we get around to doing it, people's tastes have changed or whatever. This was not, we've done the pilot, and then we sat on it for ages. It was 2 days.
Yeah. The iron was hot.
It was 16 fire trucks hot. There's part of me that feels like, was it something in the 2 days? Was there something that happened that went wrong? Or because on the night, again, it felt like it went really well. And then the other completely confounding part of it is that Channel 7, I want to say within 6 months, did exactly this show. I forget what it was called, but they had it very much in the SNL vein where it had a guest host. It was Dave O'Neill for the first episode. I do remember that. Well, I feel like Andrew O'Keefe was maybe in it. Possibly Rebecca Diamuno, who has a big improv background. But it was a 7 live sketch comedy. So there was something in the air of people wanting this type of show. In the years that I had done Rove Live, plenty of other shows had come and gone that were very similar. So again, like it was in the zeitgeist, obviously, but we just got a no. It wasn't even it was a swift kill.
Yeah.
You know, at least there's that.
Yeah.
It didn't drag out. But yeah, I just was shocked, floored, stunned, because I thought of all the things we've ever done, this is the one that is just an absolute walk-up start.
All right. So there wasn't a chance it was smoke damaged or something, and they could actually not actually.
No, there's part of me that's
it.
like, was it that?
So you can't definitively rule out that this VHS tape may have actually just been Alf season 2.
Gun to my head. I can't say for sure.
We've got to chase down all leads.
I'm dubbing the copy now. It's just like, does he eat the cat? Does Mrs. Ockmonic find out that he really is an alien or not? I don't know.
Is Rove fucking with us? They're just all watching Alf, and they're like, "What's
He's pitched? Apparently, like it's we want to say sitcom, where it's a very dark idea of an alien that has come to Earth and lives with a family and is constantly trying to eat their cat on a daily basis. But the twist that we're finding difficult to wrap our heads around is that the main protagonist of this show is seemingly a puppet, is like a Jim Henson straight out of Sesame Street puppet who sounds like Rodney Dangerfield. And you know what? I think it's got legs. I think it's got legs. That had a successful run. But
Yeah,
us
it did.
doing a live comedy sketch program, no.
It's been quite a while since then.
Yes.
But you still seem somewhat mystified.
Yes.
In all the intervening years, with all the access that you've had to wheelers and dealers and people in power, have you never been able to sit down with somebody and just go, mate, what happened?
No, I guess because of the fire kind of was a bigger distraction. I guess with the chaos that was going on at the time, you just kind of took it as a, wait, what? Oh, okay, well, I've got to finish doing this other thing. I guess we'll get back to it at some point, and then never really did. To the point where I sometimes wonder whether anyone involved in the show even remembers actually doing it. It was a strange but significant blip on the radar. It's like I was caught up with Tom only recently, and we were talking about Skid House, but do you remember that random live pilot we did?
That you can't even really prove happened.
Oh my God.
This is the thing. Is it on anyone's resume? No. Is it the way they do pilots now, where if it was for Channel 10, they would put it to air? No. It happened. I swear it happened.
Okay.
I just need advice.
Some have
to know.
suggested. Don't worry, we're going to look after you.
Okay, thank you.
Some agencies, so-called Victoria Police, the Arson Squad,
What
have
they-
suggested
what have we done?
that we here at Pitch Bleak have no jurisdiction over actual crimes, being just a creative crime investigation agency. We're not real cops. It's all just a show, blah, 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 blah. We're putting that to one side,
Yeah,
okay?
good.
We're going outside the lines.
Do it. There's too much red tape here already. Cut it down.
Because frankly,
Let's
it's
get bleak.
really sus.
Let's get
It's
bleak.
really sus.
Yep.
That in these 2 days,
Yes.
this 48-hour period, there just so happens to be a catastrophic fire that almost eliminates any evidence
Of the show even
what you're-
happening.
And then on top of that, even with what this heroic editor has managed to salvage, you still get this mystifying no.
It's a no. I can't even tell you what the notes were. Like as in, it wasn't quite what we expected, or, it's just Skit House Live. But they knew who was going to be in it. I think there were some characters who came back. But again, this is a proof of concept thing. It's like, we'll obviously come up with something different down the track. But it's not like it would have been a shock what they saw to suddenly go, oh, wait, we thought this was going to be on location. We didn't realize that Tripod would sing a song. That's what Tripod do. So, yeah, it's a head scratcher, and I don't recall what the reasons were other than, sorry, just we're passing. It was just a no with a surprising sense of this isn't what we're after right now, when it's like, but this is what you ordered. I've brought you a steak, it's medium well, and now you say you want it rare, for example.
Yeah.
Or just now it's just like, what is steak is essentially the answer we got.
That steak
Yeah.
sitting on the table
Still
with all
with
those
it.
beers.
And a palmy as well.
It's still there.
Probably should go check
Still
it out.
there, Rove.
Yeah.
They fenced it off.
Is that unusual to get such a definitive no? Like, usually would it be tapered out a little bit more or not?
Not necessarily. A harsher no is a better no. I did a recent pitch for something for Amazon where as soon as I finished my sentence, I was like, and that's the show. They went, that was great. Not for us, but thank you. Like, almost like I was probably 3 minutes in before they'd made their decision. And while it was quite abrupt, I did respect it. I was like, thank you for not going, okay, well, thank you, and we'll let you know. And you kind of leave going,
let's keep talking.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Sometimes you don't get a no because a no means you'll walk out the door and take it somewhere else. So sometimes you get a little bit of, well, not right now, or we'll get back to you, and it's stall. And also because of our relationship, sometimes it would be, well, we don't want to make you mad or upset you or hurt your feelings because we've got other work to do together. But because of that, I think is why they knew they could just say, hey, look, no, this we're not saying yes. So I don't know, maybe they were still traumatized as well from the whole, the person walking the dog. It was a trying time for all of us. That and the arias and the fire trucks of it all.
Was it a fire safety decision, do you think?
It could well be. PTSD.
We've noticed that there are fires associated with this show.
Really?
Will that be happening every time?
Yeah. Because that's not very cost effective.
No.
If every time you make an episode, set a building on fire and destroy all of the props and wardrobe. Can we cut it down to just 12 fire trucks?
As we try to progress this investigation into perhaps pointing some fingers, identifying...
And again, you're not police.
We're kind of police.
I feel you are.
As we move into trying to identify the killer...
Yep.
I think from the way you've spoken about the show and the production and the proof of concept... You're not just going to go, well, it wasn't up to scratch. It wasn't good enough.
No, I would not say that.
So it's not on you. It's your.
It's really
are we going to rule?
Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
I guess before we head into the identification, is it dead? Is there a chance that the live show you might go, let's bring it back?
Look, the idea of it, well, they did do, there was this Channel 7 show. As far as I understand, they didn't do a full run of that. There was the Big Bite, Hamish and Andy hybrid thing. I don't think that was live, though. Shot in front of an audience, but I don't think that was live.
Yep.
Ben Elton, live from Planet Earth.
Yes, that's right.
Only got a couple of weeks out of that.
Yep.
So it's not a great track record, which is part of the hurdle you have to overcome, and maybe that was something that I should factor in as well.
You've given some examples there of live sketch that didn't really fly, but they all came after.
This is after.
That's right.
And we didn't even do ours.
So it can't have been that.
Okay, cool. So Ben Elton's off the hook, right? Good.
Ben Elton went back in time.
I would like to think there's still a chance for a show like this, if not this actual show, and even all these years later. It's not like that was the era. It worked then. I don't know it would work now. I think it still would stand the test of time, and in the way that we presented it as well.
It's still here.
Tom Gleason's he's around, right? Is he doing anything? Is he available?
Not much.
So Channel 7 and the other ones doing the sketch shows. Was that a zeitgeist thing? Or was did someone get a whiff that, Rove's doing a show over here, we better copy
Well,
paste?
this is what I thought, right? So after the 7 one has come out, there was part of me that was thinking, is the reason we got asked to do it in the first place that 10 got wind that someone else was doing it, and they thought, well, we can get one out first, especially if we ask these guys to do it because they're locked and loaded and ready to go.
Yep.
Which would think, well, then there's more reason to go. Let's make it happen.
So that's known as the Deep Impact Armageddon
That's exactly
situation.
Yes, it is. I don't know if that was the case this time round, but perhaps it was. Or here's something I hadn't thought of, guys.
Okay.
Did our VHS accidentally get sent to Channel 7?
It was an admin.
Whoa. Send to channel your hand. Which one was it again? It was one of the numbers. I'll say 7.
Couldn't be more than 7.
Could be more than 7. Let's send this show to somewhere where they need to get a foothold. He's worked at Channel 9. He's currently working at Channel 10. Where's he not been? Channel 7.
In this scenario, 10 never gets a tape, but they understand you've just been through a traumatic experience with the fire.
Yes.
They don't have the heart to come back and say, what?
You didn't send us anything. And then we'll be like, of course we didn't send you anything. We haven't even finished our beers. Have you no heart?
The best, kindest thing we can do is just a
It's
tight
just-
no.
Just not exactly. For you. We're doing this for you.
And then 7, schluck.
Like, hello, you know what would really make this work? Dave O'Neill. And then boom, we have a show.
It's now time to identify the killer,
Yep.
as we have done. Are you ready, Rove?
I am ready.
So I don't know if you've noticed, Chris has been compiling a list as we go along of all of the characters involved.
He was two-finger writing, which is not easy to do.
Right at the top here, he's got to be mentioned, David Mott.
Yes.
David Mott at Channel 10.
Channel 10.
Could have had it in for you.
This guy is done
needs to be taken
in about
down
15 years. But I'm going to get ahead.
Yeah, Tom Gleeson.
We could track him down, right, if we had to.
He was in the show, so maybe not.
Or is he going, well, this isn't going to get me a Gold Logie. However, if I go and disappear, come back at the more credible ABC.
Oh,
I'm just saying, got to put all options on the table.
Stephen Gatesy Gates, who we've learned is responsible for the name Skid House.
Skid House.
Probably felt some ownership there. He sees the writing on the wall. The show's now segueing into something that is not called Skid House.
No. Oh, doesn't get the naming
He's
right.
jilted.
When everyone says, how did they come up with that name? Oh, that was me. No one's going to go, oh, yeah, the live show. Yeah, makes sense. No one's going to start asking, who came up with this clever name?
Skid House. I'm laughing already.
I'm laughing already. I haven't even watched a single
The
episode.
live show, I'm not laughing yet.
Don't even know what that is.
Didn't even see it. A mouse? I don't think so. Here's, I think, a strong suspect. The person who just happened to not be in the building because they're out walking their dogs.
Right.
Oh, how convenient.
Convenient.
Of you not burning to death.
You not burning to death. Well. Why are you not dead in a building?
Credible suspects galore at Channel 7. Dave O'Neill, Andrew O'Keefe.
Yeah, maybe even together.
A time-travelling Ben Elton, possibly, trying
Still
to
on the table.
sabotage your...
Still on the table.
Or a bitter, nameless
Right.
editor who you have not acknowledged. You don't know their name. You didn't invite them to drinks.
I don't even know what an editor does.
Happens to make it out with the tape that may or may not be Alf. Revenge.
Best served cold and then left on a table as you flee the pub.
which one of those floats your boat?
In all honesty, to this day, I still blame the mouse.
Yeah.
I feel that little fucker, if it had not chewed through a wire and destroyed half of my business, I would have made that show possibly for someone else. Sure, maybe it did get mailed to the wrong person. Maybe it was Alf that they watched. But maybe then they come back and say, make Alf for us. I can't. I don't have an office. I don't have a building. I don't have an edit suite. The episode 1 was going to be Alf in a jester costume. Where do I get a jester costume? Huh? It's gone. Who do we blame? The little fucking mouse. I don't know. I'm just saying, honestly, this fire is such a weird thing that happened that I feel like it factored into this somehow. And I don't know whether it was they can't do it, or whether it was you need to concentrate on landing this other plane because this one, not for now. So I don't know if just fire in general can be blamed. But you know what? It's not fire's fault. Fire's like, I don't want to, I can't help myself.
Fire is a patsy.
Fire is like a literal smokescreen. So anyway, I just feel like I don't trust mice for a reason. And to this day, still have not trusted a mouse. So I'm pretty scarred. Have you seen me make a show with a mouse in it? No.
I mean, you could pitch that.
Yeah, it would work if it was a puppet mouse, wisecracking puppet mouse. Ready for the twist? Everyone else in it is an actual human. But then every now and again, it's like a child in a full mouse costume, so we can get the walking around shots that we need, so we can prove that it has legs.
Why was that so terrible? Those little bits. You just see him like wiggling across the room.
Just like just make the head look the same. It just doesn't look the same. It's a completely different face.
Just never needed to see it.
No.
Waist up, please.
That's right. That's right. Like so many things. My eyes are up here, Alf. Anyway, what were we talking about?
This is pretty nuts. I think it's a Channel 7 conspiracy. Because I think they planted the forensics person because when you were like, the forensic person just like poked around and said, this wire, that was a little too simple for me.
And look, to be honest, when he's sifting through with the wire, and I said, do you think that could have been just an old wire that blew a fuse in the ceiling? And he said, no deal. So I never got a good look at his face. He had a rough, like, sort of collar and a jester hat. But it seemed credible at the time.
I think we can rule out Inspector
And then he
O'Keefe.
left with a bunch of bikini-clad ladies and then fell down out front of a nightclub. But I think it was... That's just what awesome people do.
Chris, that's where I'm landing. Is a Channel 7 plant.
Look, I never thought of that.
I've got mine. Have you landed on yours, or are you going to accept Rove's mouse and or fire scenario?
And or fire.
No, I'm going with embittered
Editor.
Okay,
sure.
There are 3 on the crazy wall. That's how we identify. We're going to move on to... do you want to let go of the idea? Are you okay and comfortable with...
You know what? Now that you mention it, no.
Okay.
I had not thought of it until this process began. Having gone through it now, I sit there thinking, yeah, it was... Like you were saying before, Chris, it wasn't one of those ones that's like, yeah, it wasn't ready. It was this, it was that. It was, oh, yeah, I get it, the powers that be.
Yep.
This is one of those ones. It was good. It was good. And could have been good. And still could be now. So...
I usually would offer a sound effect to say farewell, but I'm not going to give you that.
Oh, what?
You can't have it because we want it to live now.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So you can't say goodbye. Usually someone would press something and they'd say farewell. But Rove, I want this to live. Look, have you seen that building? Has it been rebuilt?
It's amazing now.
Okay, all right.
It's a lovely, I think, apartment block as everything is nowadays. But it looks magnificent.
inner city housing density.
Of course. Could also...
The real killer.
Could also be. And do you know who's living there? Dave O'Neill and Ben Elton. So who knows? Maybe, just maybe, this is the start of the live show 2.0, and I look forward to coming back to explain why that version did not get up as
they
well.
gave us a reason this time.
Oh, it was like, no, it really was very shit out. It was not a play on words. It just was not very good. You just completely forget how bad it really was.
We've come to the end of this episode of Pitch Bleak. Thank you very much for joining us, Rove.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And that was our chat with Rove McManus of Rove fame. Chris, thoughts?
Now, you said I was too close to this. I couldn't be objective.
It was hard for you to do that, and it was hard to watch you squirm and sit there.
Full disclosure, I have worked for Rove, but that was several years after the incident in question. So I feel that the questions over my objectivity and my ability to investigate this case that you are thinking should be off the table.
I am.
That said, what a doozy. There are a lot of questions, some real drama. There was a huge fire, a long list of suspects, and no real closure.
It was actually a genuine crime was involved.
And in the end, our victim, Rove McManus, was unable or unwilling to let go of the idea of the live show.
I'm backing it in. It's coming back.
I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a new incarnation of it. I also wouldn't be surprised were we to see Rove possibly back on Pitch Bleak in some form in the future. I have a feeling, he's got more stories to tell, more crimes to reveal.
What a guest. What an investigation. We'll keep on trucking. Next time on Pitch Bleak.
This is actually, it's very interesting. I actually pitched a completely different play, which now doesn't exist. I just realised.
Wow. Dun, dun, dun. Quick, get some more red string for the crazy wall.